Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is SkeleTales.
And this is the podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
Alissa, as you know, Christmas is around the corner, mere days away. So I was thinking, going on your suggestion, of coming up with shameful Christmas things that Grandma would be watching me do shamefully.
Okay. Did you come up with some? Because I immediately have some. I know what
you do? Okay. Maybe we can spitball, and I want to know yours too. Okay. So you know how you get a gift, and it's a good gift, like you maybe spent like a lot of money on it, and you know you're supposed to take that price tag off every time, but then maybe a little bit you want to know them to know like how much you actually spent on it. So you just leave it on purpose and you wrap it up and you send it off. Grandma saw that and she was like, tisk tisk.
Modesty, Britt. I've never done that.
All right.
Grandma
What's yours?
saw
What's
that.
yours?
So, you know, when you were little and you're like snooping around your parents' room and you stumbled upon your Christmas gifts?
Yes. Oh, shit.
Grandma saw that.
Watching that.
She saw that. And then that's why your mom was like, who found the Christmas gifts and then returned them all. And then you didn't get those for Christmas.
Oh.
That's actually my brother's story. Shame, Adam.
Returned it?
Yeah. He was going to get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles blimp and ruined it for us all. Because I was stoked for him to have that blimp too. Bummer.
Adam, damn it.
Grandma saw it.
All right. Remember, you know how sometimes you're given the horrible gift? It's like a candle holder that is like circa 97 and you're like, oh, thank you for this gift. Oh, cool. Immediately wrap it up, re-gift, and then the person who gave it to you ends up showing up to the party. Has that ever happened to you?
Grandma saw that.
She saw it. She goes, no. This is what she saw you do that shit. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to inspire that person to come to this party. There.
They appeared in a dream. You need to go to Britt's work party.
So you can... Shame.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah. It's been a while. I know better now. Don't mix. Yeah.
I actually returned a baby gift for Odin that was it was just not my style, not his style. Not that the baby had style. Really, it was not my style. And I went to return it. And as I was returning it, the person who purchased it for me was at the counter next to me.
Oh, shit.
Saw me return it.
Oops.
I felt really bad. It was, what are the odds? Yeah. So, Grandma, damn it.
Grandma,
just say thank
watching.
you and appreciate you got anything at all.
All right. What's the worst gift that you've been given at Christmas?
Oh, boy. Well, so I have some relatives who didn't have children and didn't really have a finger on the pulse of what like a teenage girl would wear or get. And so I'm pretty sure in high school I got like a sweater with like a puppy on a pillow that was like a little puffed out like 3D. And I was like, oh, thank you. She tried very hard. And so
it is the thought that counts.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. What's the worst one you got?
Oh my gosh. Years ago, we had a Christmas with Mike's family and his mom was cleaning out her house and decided it was a fantastic opportunity to gift items that instead of donating them to Goodwill to like just give them as Christmas gifts. So that year I got some used pot holders. I got some old lingerie from the 70s.
No.
I'm trying to think what else. Just like old potpourri or something where you're like, oh, okay.
The lingerie. That's it. That's the worst one. Old lingerie from your mother-in-law.
Yeah. I mean,
that wins.
We also got some like antique, antique German, like cups and glasses that were really cool, but also mixed in was like other things. Yeah, the lingerie did not last long.
And it was hers probably, right?
Yeah, but she was like, "Oh, this is really good quality, nice stuff. Like that Britt." Oh, or like what? Hopefully that was the thought, and not like, "This is really sexy."
I felt sexy in this.
Good in this. Yeah.
I bet Mike will really like how Britt looks in this.
Ew, no, that's. Oh, yeah, worst gift. Sorry, family, worst gift.
No, that wins. I'm not even like going to brainstorm. I definitely have nothing that will beat that at all. Absolutely. Well, Britt, do we just talk about bad Christmas gifts and Christmas naughties?
We also talk about
true tales of the strange, unusual, and paranormal. What are we talking about this week, Britt?
We've got I've got some supernatural holiday themed tidbit stories for you tonight. What about you?
Ghosts of Christmas past, present, future, and then other ones that have nothing to do with any of those things. But they do mention Christmas. Okay.
Perfect.
In some way, the word comes up.
I'm excited to hear yours, and I'm shared mine. Okay, you go first.
Okay, I'm going to start it off here. So this one comes from Fanta, and she says, "This is actually my mom's story, and a quick preface is that my mom knew a couple who lost their baby son in 1990. We'll call him Peter. I don't want to put his real name on here for obvious reasons. He crawled out an open balcony window and unfortunately died."
Oh, no.
The glitch, I did not read that part. I apologize, everybody. I didn't know that was like such a downer part. Maybe I won't put the details of the Merry Christmas. That's it. That's my story. It was Christmas morning. Anyway, okay. The glitch happened later on in the early 90s, just before Christmas. My mom was busying herself with wrapping presents when she got up to leave the living room. As she walked past the window, she froze still. In the window's reflection, she could see a boy with curly hair standing next to the Christmas tree. But when she looked, there was no boy. She looked at the window reflection again, and the boy was still there. She quickly closed the curtains in a panic and went to run up the stairs. But just after she closed the curtains, there was 3 knocks at the window. She says she never ran so fast in her life.
Oh my gosh. It's the reflection, like your story from last week with the yellow house. How it was only
through a window. Yes.
Through a window.
I drew a complete blank. I don't know if you could tell by the look on my face, that blank. What did I talk about last week? Like, no clue. I should probably have some notes. I guess a little bit. Not quite.
In real life, not there. In window, there.
Yeah. That's more like the reason why you hate windows, why a lot of people hate windows, especially at night. Mirrors, anything with a reflective surface that something could be in the reflection that is not actually in the room, or maybe, but the mirror and the reflection only sees it.
It's scary.
It is. Okay. So the next day, she received the news that Peter's parents had a baby girl that night. She also had similar experiences in the early 2000s, but she puts that one down to having just woken up. This one, she says she was fully awake and alert. I asked her if it was possible that there really was a boy outside, but she was 100% sure it was the reflection of a boy and not a boy outside.
Wow. Oh, that's so freaky. Does that mean that the little, so was it the new baby being born that she saw the reflection of, or was it the child who fell off the balcony?
My theory is that it was the child who fell, and he knew he now had a baby sister, and he was running around to let everybody know, I have a baby sister, and knocking on windows and trying to let everybody know that how excited he was that his family had a new baby.
That's a very positive way to think about it. Not that he's just having to haunt the balcony for the rest of his life because it was a traumatic death.
Oh, he's just locked outside and no one will let him in.
He's like, I see the Christmas tree. I want a part of it. Christmas time is here.
That's the Charlie Brown Christmas, right?
Oh my God, that's... No. It was totally Yeah, he's welcoming his new baby sister for sure, because that was the only time she saw him. So it was that special night.
Exactly.
Okay. Good story. I like that one.
Do you have any stories?
I do. This one was told by somebody with the name Raspberry Waterfall. Obviously, not their birth name. I'm imagining.
I mean, you never know.
But that was the name they wanted. That was the name they wanted me to use. So that is the name we are using. When I was 8 or 9, I saw something weird on Christmas Eve. This was many, many years ago, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. I still believed in Santa Claus then, as a good amount of children do, and I had the usual anxiety and excitement for Santa to leave Christmas presents by the tree. After I went to bed, I had some trouble going to sleep with holiday nerves and such. I'd finally drifted off when I woke up to the sound of soft footsteps somewhere in my room. I automatically assumed it was Santa Claus, and I was scared to see him for fear he might leave or his magic would fail. I opened just one eye barely and saw this black figure standing over my bed, staring at me. It was probably around 6 feet tall and was completely dark. It looked almost blacker than black in a way. I couldn't see any eyes, a mouth, or a nose, but I could clearly see the outline of the head, arms, body, and legs. It looked like a bigger person, so I was thinking it was Santa, and it made sense. It stayed in one spot for 10, maybe 15 seconds until it took a few steps closer. It leaned in a little more, still a few feet away from me, and then stayed there for 10 or 15 seconds more. Even though I couldn't see a face, I knew it was looking right at me. It's just that weird feeling you get when you know you're being watched. I closed my eyes again and waited for a few minutes. When I looked back, it was gone. I lived in a pretty old house at the time, so the doors and floorboards were squeaky and loud. I heard the footsteps, but I never heard the door open. I never saw this figure again, though I've had some other spooky experiences in this house. I asked my mom if she heard Santa when he came in my room last night, and she looked confused for a second and then played along and just assumed that I was lying. I know this wasn't a person, and I know it wasn't a dream. I also know that spirits or entities are often attracted to a lot of excitement or energy, so Christmas would be a perfect time for a ghost to pass through. So this got me thinking, though, about kind of how, like, I love Santa, but Santa's pretty creepy.
My kids have zero desire to sit on his lap. We're like, do you want to go sit on Santa's lap? And the look upon their faces is of sheer horror and disgust. And like, why would I ever want to go sit on his lap?
Like, they know it's creepy too.
Yeah.
I ran into our favorite child of the podcast, Alissa, who has seen Jada.
Yes.
We live in the same neighborhood, and every year they do a luminary festival with lights around the whole park. It's very beautiful, but Santa is there, and you can go and sit on Santa's knee and tell him what you want. She was having none of it. I was like, Alissa, are you excited to see Santa? Oh, no. And Julie was like, she hates Santa. And she was like, she told Alissa, she goes, Alissa, aren't you excited for Santa to come and bring you presents? I don't want him here, Mommy. No, absolutely not. Do not let him come in my house. But it got me thinking. And then I heard a story that I think it's in the UK somewhere, that Santa goes into your bedroom and fills the stocking above your bed. So he's like literally in your bedroom giving you gifts. So maybe that's what the kids saw, was the British Santa that was maybe trying to.
He got lost a little bit. Yeah, maybe. She said it was a creepy presence, though, wasn't it? It didn't sound heartwarming.
It wasn't really. It was not.
But she's like, maybe it was just a Christmas ghost. But like,
no, I think that was, like she said, like maybe just because of the excitement and energy, it brought forth some like strange creepy spirit who's staring.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking, though, first of all, how creepy Santa is. And so then I started researching online, like, creepy Santa experience.
Oh, no. That doesn't sound like it's going to go anywhere.
Well, there were all of those fantastic creepy Santa photos. But I came across... on the Smithsonian website, they tell of the Iceland Santa. Have you heard of this at all? In Iceland, they have 13 different Santas called the Yule Lads. And they're kind of like the seven dwarfs except like really mischievous. So I'm gonna read a little snippet of that, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, I'd love to hear about that. The Yule Lads. That's so
the
cute.
Yule Lads.
Okay.
On the Smithsonian website, it says Icelandic children get to enjoy the favors on not one but 13 Father Christmases called the Yule Lads. These merry but mischievous fellows take turns visiting kids on the 13 nights leading up to Christmas. On each of those nights, children place one of their shoes on the windowsill. For good boys and girls, the Yule Lad will leave candy. If not, the Yule Lads are not subtle in expressing their disapproval. They fill the shoe with rotting potatoes.
Ew.
So it lists off the different Yule Lads. Do you want to hear what they are?
Yes, please. Can I guess? Wait a minute. Can I guess first? We've got 13. Okay. We've got Stinky. We've got Pinky. We got Licky. Roddy. Oh shit. How many is that? 4. Okay, we've got Smoky, Slimy,
okay,
Hairy, Cheery, Sneaky, Sticky.
There's so many.
Flaky, Spooky, and Roddy.
Very close on some of them. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, now can I hear the real ones, please?
Okay, so keep in mind, these guys came about in the, 1700s.
Oh, are they, racist names? Or is this what we're... Oh.
No, but it is applicable to the mischievous things that they do. Like, the first one is the sheep coat clod. He tries to suckle ewes in farmers' sheep sheds. Mischievous. We have the gollygawk.
He tries to suckle ewes? That's his mischief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. The suckler. All right.
Suckler. We have the gollygawk. He steals foam from buckets of cow's milk. You know, the good stuff.
Foamy.
Stubby. He's short and steals food from frying pans. That was kind of close to one of the ones you said, wasn't it?
Oh. No, I didn't say Stubby. Mine, sweet, but he's a good climber because I would think he'd be good at stealing food from dog dishes.
Dumpsters. Oh, short, I guess. Short things.
Yeah, short things.
We've got spoon licker.
I did say licky.
Yeah, you're close. He licks spoons. Just spoons.
Just all the clean ones.
We have pot scraper or pot licker. He steals unwashed pots and licks them clean. So kind of mischievous and also helpful, I guess, that one.
But then you're bound to use it if you think it's clean. I like his name's Pot Licker. I'm going with that one. Okay.
Bowl licker. He steals bowls of food from under the bed. Oh, here we go. Back in the old days, Icelanders used to sometimes store bowls of food there. Convenient for midnight snacking. I don't think that I would want to have food under my bed. That's how you get rodents. And yeah, I guess it's colder there. I don't know. Here we go. Door slammer. That's kind of like a haunted one, right? Door slammer. He stomps around and slams doors, keeping everyone awake.
Oh, slammy.
We have the Skyer gobbler. Apparently, Skyer is, I don't even think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a type of yogurt. So he eats up all the Icelandic yogurt.
Skyer. Oh, that would make me angry. I like yogurt. And Icelandic yogurt, some good yogurt.
Oh, I'm sure it is. We have the sausage swiper. He loves stolen sausages. The window peeper. He likes to creep outside windows and sometimes steal the stuff he sees inside. That would be the freakiest one for me.
Maybe that's what we had over here in my first story, is a window peeper.
Yes. Oh, and on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Shit. Window peeper. We got the door sniffer. He has a huge nose and an insatiable appetite for stolen baked goods.
The door sniffer. Oh, God. Sniffy sniffer. Okay.
We have meat hook. He snatches up any meat left out, especially smoked lamb.
These are so random. I love it.
And then
love it.
Somebody thought these up, which is what tickles me. Like what?
I mean, there's 13 of them. Are kids supposed to remember?
All right, last one here. Candle beggar. He steals candles, which used to be a sought after items in Iceland. Okay, so there's our 13 Yule Lads there.
I love it. I didn't need another reason to want to go to Iceland, but now I got another. Now I have 13 more reasons to go to Iceland. The Yule Lads. It's so cute.
I do like the idea of like the 13, like it really like puts the pressure on the kids of like, for at least these 13 days, you have to be good, behave. My kids are fighting like mad right now. I wish I had some like Yule Lads to seek on them to be like, stop.
Okay, so
stinky potato in your shoe.
I would just go with candy because it's easier to acquire.
Well, I mean, stinky potato feels less messy to clean up than like, I don't know, other stinky things.
Yeah, but just where do you get them? Like that takes preparation. You got to like rot some potatoes.
They started in the oldie times though, where like you've got your potato cellar, so you've got bags of potatoes sitting around.
So they still do this in current days though?
I don't know.
I didn't
follow that through.
I've had a bag of potatoes like in a pantry like turned to maggots once. So that was pretty gross. Beyond potato, just a pool of slime.
The stench is like a rotting body.
It smelled so bad.
You know what? Rotten potato is way worse than like a piece of coal.
Oh, yeah.
A piece of coal. Oh, light the fire.
And then they could just throw the coal at their brother. Like, they could also equally throw a piece of a rotten potato at a brother.
Oh, a smushy rotten potato to the face. That's worse.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, that was a joy. Okay, so my next story comes from Angie, and she says, when I was around the age of 5, I received a life-size doll for Christmas. On the box, the doll was called the Wispy Walker doll. It was about the same height as me with blonde hair and overalls. The strangest part about this gift was no one could recall who got me this doll, as it was labeled from Santa. Even years later, when I asked my family who got me the doll, no one could remember who. I instantly did not like the doll because it freaked me out. I left the doll in the back of my closet, far away from all my other toys. Years passed, and the doll remained in the back of my closet untouched. I feel you. That's exactly where all my dolls ended up as well. When I was about 7 years old, I began to play hide and seek with my mom in our home. I decided to hide behind the door in my bedroom, which is right in front of my closed closet door. I gasped when I come to find the walking Wispy doll out of her box, placed behind my bedroom door with one eye open and another eye shut. I scream. I scream and I run to my mom crying. I tell her, Mom, Big Sis is playing a prank on me and put the walking doll behind my door to scare me. My mother, confused, explains that my sister had left for camp this morning with her class. My mom walks over to check behind the door, and there was no doll.
No.
My stomach drops, and I am at a loss for words. Maybe you're just seeing things, my mom told me. We opened the closet to check if the doll is inside the closet. It was, but outside of its box, just standing next to it. I had never taken the doll out of its original packaging, and I eventually got rid of the doll, but every time I remember this story, I get chills.
Oh, that is freaky as hell. Dolls are just freaky, but a life-size one whose eyes are like looking at you and only maybe one. Ooh.
And walks around the Wispy Walker doll that no one knows where it came from. I think I would probably just take to keeping my front door open and hope it walks out and never comes back.
Goodbye.
Like, hope it walked into the road. Bye-bye. Yeah,
oh,
no,
man.
very few good dolls out there, I'm convinced.
You know, growing up, or as a child, I had the most fabulous dolls imaginable to me.
What was that?
When I was a child, I had the most fabulous dolls imaginable.
I thought you said jowls.
I may have.
It was the most fabulous jowls ever.
But then I grew up and I got them out of the box of my childhood things, and I was like, oh, these are hideous. Like hand-painted face dolls, and ones where half their hair is falling out. One had a hole in her head. But in my mind as a child, I was like, these are the most beautiful things in the world. And they were not. They're really freaky looking. I still have them.
Yeah, I never liked any of those. The only ones I didn't like Barbies. I didn't like any of that. I loved me a Cabbage Patch Kid. A preemie Cabbage Patch Kid. Absolutely. But any other doll? Hell no. My brother got one of those My Buddies. Do you remember that? It was like the real life.
My buddy and me.
Yeah,
I wanted
exactly.
One. Kid sister. Kid sister. Kid sister. Oh, that's who I wanted. I wanted Kid sister.
But it's like the Chucky doll. Did Chucky come before or after My Buddy?
That's a really good question.
Because it's almost the exact same outfit.
Surely it has to be after. Otherwise, poor children would be immediately traumatized. Well, I mean, I'm sure they were traumatized either way. That was so freaky. The same shirt, the same overalls. It's identical.
How can you have that in your room and know there's like a horror movie and just like not be convinced it's waking up at night to kill you and suck your air out of your mouth? Because that's
they are bigger sized dolls, the buddy ones. They weren't like, full body ones, but they were like double the size of a normal doll, I think.
Bigger than a Cabbage Patch Kid. They were big. They were definitely big. A little knife would fit perfectly in their hand. Okay. No, thank you.
That's a good one. I like that.
So do you have another?
Oh, I do. Okay. So mine is, we're going back in history a little bit. This came from a newspaper article from the Los Angeles Times, October 12th, 1963. So I do want to give out credit, though. I got news of this article from strangeco.blogspot.com. So they did tip me off on this article. Our little tale originates on the farm owned by Dora and William Monroe, just outside of Poughkeepsie, Wisconsin. The couple bought their home in 1955 after the previous owner died. Among the furnishings they acquired along with the farm was a colorful black, red, and yellow patchwork quilt, about 60 to 75 years old. The Monroes kept it stored away for a couple of years until Mrs. Monroe brought it out to use in the guest bedroom because it was so beautiful and so old. Soon afterward, the Monroes' daughter, Florence Delphasi, spent the night at the farm. She was given the bedroom adorned by the old quilt. Then things got weird. Around midnight, Miss Delphasi was awakened by a jerking sensation from the bottom of the quilt. Too surprised and frightened to make a sound, she just desperately held on to her end of the quilt. This spectral game of tug and war was interrupted by a voice snapping, "Give me back my Christmas quilt." Not knowing what else to do, Florence stubbornly held on to the quilt until dawn, when the tugging finally stopped. Florence's account of her disturbed night created quite a family sensation. Another Monroe daughter, Margaret, came over to test the quilt herself. Just after midnight, she too felt the violent jerking of the quilt. The blanket also became extremely hot, as if the heat came from an oven. The alarmed woman flung the quilt off the bed. When Margaret's daughter-in-law, Margie, used the quilt, she swore it had an audible heartbeat. Margaret's teenage son, Tom, decided to get in on the fun. He spent the night on a sofa wrapped in the quilt, while another Monroe grandson, Richard, stayed awake to view events. Sure enough, right after midnight, Richard saw invisible hands yank the quilt from the sleeping Tom. According to Richard, the quilt raised itself about a foot above Tom, after which it floated away from the sofa and landed on the floor. The boyfriend of a Monroe granddaughter brought the quilt to his home. He was alone in the house, something which he probably soon regretted. After midnight, he was awakened when the blanket began to move. He got out of bed and observed the quilt straighten itself out as if no one had slept there. Then he heard a knock on the front door. When he opened the door, he saw a man with no face. Although it was raining hard, the man was completely dry. Without saying a word, the eerie figure just vanished. When the young man went outside, he saw no sign of the visitor and no footprints. William Monroe was the next to test the quilt. Same story. The quilt jerked itself away from him. He held onto the quilt for a while, then let go, curious to see what would happen. He said the quilt dragged itself across the floor and crawled under the dresser. Faced with this paranormal mystery, the Monroes and their friends knew there was only one thing to do. That's right, a supernatural slumber party. Yes, indeed. 6 of Dora's female relatives and interested observers, including a reporter from the Oshkosh Daily Northwestern, decided there was strength in numbers. On the night of November 1st, 1963, right after this witching hour of Halloween, they would challenge this cranky, crazy quilt en masse. Dora herself begged off from the experience because she had a heart condition, and she feared the strain would be too much for her. Sadly, this unique episode of paraphysiological research appears to have been a big, fat bust. The women reported that on the night they gave the quilt the acid test, in quotation marks, it didn't do a thing. Mrs. Monroe attributed the quilt's uncharacteristically docile behavior to the fact that there were too many women at a time testing it. If the women were silly about it, it wouldn't work either, she added. The story of this haunted bedding appears to end there. For one very good reason, the quilt disappeared. Mrs. Monroe mailed the quilt to relatives in Oakland, California, so that they could test its remarkable powers. She never got it back, and apparently the quilt was never seen again. It's unclear if the blanket was lost in the mail or if it is still lurking somewhere in Oakland, or perhaps the faceless man finally got his damned Christmas quilt back.
I want someone to be like digging in a yard and like they uncover the quilt with dirt. They like hit something and it's like been buried or something, or the body, it was wrapping a body the whole time or something.
The whole time. Can I just make comment on the first bitch who ended up with the quilt, and the quilt's literally tugging off of her, and she's like, fuck you, and she holds on tight, and they're just like, I am imagining her laying in bed tugging this quilt all night long, like, no, you can't have my quilt.
I would do the same thing, I think. I mean, I do
you
that
wouldn't
anyway.
Let go?
No, I'd be cold. I'm like, no, man, I want to sleep. Like, let me sleep. Because I feel like I play that tug of war with like Mitch in bed, you know? I'm like, oh, mine. And he thinks I have more, and I think he has more. And then we just tug. What color was this quilt again? Did you say it was red?
I was literally
yellow, and
looking
black?
that up so anybody in Oakland, California can keep their eyes open. Black, red, and yellow patchwork quilt.
Okay. So there was the Met Gala, I think it was recently, and somebody, I don't know who it was, some young famous person, I don't know who they are. They showed up wearing a quilt, like a big fluffy like quilt that was yellow and red. And I do believe it had some black like decor on it.
Oh,
but
shit.
They found it it was in California, I believe, is where maybe not be. I can't, maybe it was. I don't remember. I'm going to pretend that the Met Gala happens in
Oakland, California. Yes.
I think it might be in New York City, but maybe the stylist who found it. They found it at a thrift store. nearby, and like apparently the family had donated it like a week or two beforehand, and then a stylist found it and then dressed whoever in this freaking family quilt.
I love that. I need to look that up right away.
Yeah, now fingers crossed it is the same quilt. I doubt it is, but I like that idea. It would be so
someone
crazy. They can't get rid of it
off their body.
Yeah, it wants to be either back with the dead guy or famous. It's making its way.
Oh yeah, it likes the fame.
It likes the fame. It wants to be in the spotlight.
Yeah, good old haunted Christmas quilt.
Love it. That's such a great story. I love that it made the newspaper.
It did.
Beautiful. That's so fun. Haunted like clothing and objects is a very fascinating idea. And I guess like a blanket is as good a thing as any to be haunted. Like people die in blankets all the time, right? There should be more haunted linens.
And maybe they are, but if you're sleeping, you probably aren't paying attention to that like blanket moving across your legs or
it's all the sleep paralysis has been blamed on like all this other stuff, but really you just have haunted blankets.
This whole time.
The whole time.
Solved. Sleep paralysis solved. Oh my gosh. We are detectives. I love it.
Love it. Okay. So my last story comes from Breezy, and they say, it was a week before the Christmas after my grandpa died, and I had stayed the night at my grandma's after we'd gone Christmas shopping the day before. My grandma was still taking it hard, and I'd been trying to help her cheer her up. We had just gone out to do more shopping for gifts, boxes, and paper, the usual wrapping stuff. When we got back, we ate lunch and watched Christmas movies in the living room till my mom got there to pick me up. I guess all that shopping wore her out because halfway through the movie, my grandma fell asleep. As I was sitting there, I started to think about my grandpa because we were really close and his passing hit me really hard, but I was trying not to show it around my grandma. I was missing him a lot, and I really actually didn't even want to stay over at my grandma's house as much as I used to because being there just brought up all the memories of him, and it made me miss him even more. I never even went into his bedroom anymore because it was just too sad. While my grandma was sleeping, I tried to pay attention to the movie, but again, all I could think about my grandpa and all the fun stuff we did for Christmas and how I just wanted to see him again. Then all of a sudden, the room started to feel cold. At first, I thought it was just a draft, but then everything felt heavy and it got real quiet. The clock stopped ticking, no car noises, no nothing. It was like the whole world had just stopped. It looked like all the color had started to fade away till everything had just turned gray. Then my whole body felt like pinprickles, and it felt like someone was watching me. As I looked up, I almost screamed in shock. There in the doorway that led into the hall was my grandpa. He was just standing there smiling at me, wearing his favorite cream color brown pinstripe shirt sleeve button-up shirt, blue jeans, brown belt, white socks, brown loafers, and brown glasses. The only thing different was a kind of glow about him. I sat there frozen for what seemed like an hour when I started to stand up. I don't know why, maybe to hug him or maybe just to touch him to see if he was actually there. But the second I got to my feet, he was gone and the world went back to normal with all the sounds and color back like someone had just hit the unpause button. I just stood there for a second, then realized I was crying and went to get a tissue. I never saw my grandfather after that day. And even though I was scared, I really kind of wish it would happen again.
Oh. What a gift, though. His grandpa was like, you miss me? All right, I'll come say hi.
It sounds like a Marvel movie or something, like where you can just hit a pause button and everything fades away.
Yes, and then there's this glowing grandpa in the doorway.
I know. When I was reading this, I was like, really, is this all I have to do is just like think about something and somebody that I miss like real hard and think about them, and then maybe like everything will stop and they'll show up. It didn't work yet.
That kind of reminds me, though. I've heard recently about a medium who, to get to this state of being able to communicate with the dead,
Yes.
they meditate. Yeah. And it's like, and they're able to hone in on their abilities through meditation. I wonder if this kid was just so relaxed and focusing that attention so intently. I wonder if they were a medium and just didn't know it and were able to like hone in on their abilities by just focusing so intently on their grandfather's memory.
That's really interesting. Maybe they are. You know who also told us that was Alex, our psychic friend Alex.
Yes,
he said we should meditate. That's almost everyone's recommendation for everything. It's just there's nothing negative about it.
I know. I've done it one time since.
I know. You could be.
I'm going to get my abilities.
Yeah, we could be uncovering all these superpowers.
If we would just fucking sit quietly and clear our mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do we refuse to do it so much, Alissa?
I don't know. It's not even a refuse. Just don't do it. I do have an app with his melty voice. And every time I do it, I'm like, that was nice. But it's literally 3-minute sessions. I think I know my answer. Can't sit still. I don't have that attention span. My brain.
I know the one meditation I did, it was like less than 15 minutes. I felt incredible afterwards. Maybe I just have to make it routine.
I also don't get 15 minutes of silence all that often. And when I do, there's like a whole bunch of stuff I want to get done. And, so I guess that's probably it. Excuses is what all we're listing is excuses. 2022 is when we gain our superpowers. Okay. By the end.
Here we go.
That's my resolution. I will unlock
resolutions. Yeah.
my superpowers with meditation. So did you have one more story?
Okay, I do. Okay. I teased last week about a story from my niece Sunshine. And though it is not technically a Christmas story, it is a December story because that is when she told me this month. So I'm going to make it count.
It all counts. Holiday season.
So Sunshine is a freshman at UT here in Austin. And
University of Texas.
Yeah, good job. Longhorns. One of her jobs is that she works at the Classics Library. It's the dream job of Sunshine. Like,
my goodness.
She gets to sit in this library with like ancient books that are just, they have that old smell.
That's so cool. Oh, is this going to be a story about a book covered with human skin?
No, but I now need to ask her if
and then I'm thinking about smelling it. You're like taking a big inhale. I'm really grossed out.
It like skin particles going in your nose.
Yeah.
So she is working, and she said that the Classics Library, not a hustly bustly place. Like she said she's worked entire shifts where like nobody's just there. She just does her homework during that time or reads a book or whatever. So she comes in for her afternoon shift that goes into closing. And she gets there, she's at the front, and the way the library is laid out, I haven't been there yet, but I do want to visit, is you go down the row and then it kind of offshoots and there are little study rooms off to the side. And so she's doing her homework and she hears that somebody's studying back there. They're moving the chair a lot. She hears paper rustling. And they're there for quite a while, and then it's starting to get late, and she was wanting to close up early because she had to get somewhere at 6, and they usually close at 6. So it's getting closer, and she is not one for confrontation. So she's like, man, I really hope that they like wrap up so I don't have to go talk to this person back here. It gets closer. It's like 5:30, 5:45, and she's like, damn it. All right. So then she starts to turn some lights off, like maybe indicate like, okay, wrap it up, put your stuff away. And finally she realizes, I have to go tell them that we're closing. So she walks back there, turns the corner to where the table is, and nobody's there. Nobody. All day she'd heard breathing, rustling papers, that chair was moving, and there is not a single soul there.
Ooh, the occasional cough and throat clearing.
Just the little one where it's like not a soul there. And there is only one way in and out. There's no back exit.
I love it. We're talking about kind of like, I love, we've had one tale about a book loving ghost as well. But like, that makes so much sense to me. I don't know why. Like, of course you would go haunt a classics library, right?
Of course. So I put her on the task of like, go ask your coworkers. What have they seen? Like, I need to know some stories here. There's only one other woman, the librarian who works there, and Sunshine was so nervous to ask, bless her heart. She asks the librarian, have you, like, had any weird experiences? And the librarian's like, no, but that closet back there, the anthropologists keep all of their artifacts back in that back closet by the table where the chair is. So it is either a haunted book or some kind of strange artifact back in that closet back there.
Or like an old librarian or an old student who's like eternally studying for finals or something.
Yes.
Never gets a chance to take their test.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Have you... Yeah, that's a night like purgatory. Is just like you just have to study for a test forever. How old is the building was my question. Do you know? Any idea?
Yeah. It was built in the 20s or 30s.
Oh, okay.
So not like 1800s or anything, but old enough to still haunt the shit out of somebody.
Plenty of time to get a good old ghost right up in there. Oh, I love it. Sunshine. Keep us updated, please.
I know. Now I want to know. Well, and then the librarian was like, asked Sunshine, well, Sunshine, have you experienced anything? And Sunshine, no.
Why are you asking? No, that's weird. That would be so weird. That's really weird of you to even ask me.
I don't see weird things. I don't hear strange things.
What? No. Never heard or thought someone was here when there's no one here. No. Crazy. Oh, I love it so much. Ooh, yay. All right. Well, if you have any stories of a haunted object or haunted library, haunted anything, weird coincidences, we want to hear it. You can send it to our hotbox at skeletalespodcast@gmail.com, or you can call our hotline.
The number to that is 302-689-DEAD, 302-689-3323. And you can email and call even just to say hello. You guys are awesome. We like those messages too.
Heck yeah. You can also do that on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We were discussing how we have been a little slacking on the socials lately. We are getting our episodes up. Life is busy. And so we will, New Year's resolution, unlock superpowers with meditation and get our shit together a little bit more with the podcast.
Yep. Dust off our Jamesels and Berts and get them on the TikToks.
Get busy on there. Was there anything else that I wanted to say to you, Britt? I did.
One thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you not remember what it was?
Wait, no.
Haunt y'all later.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Haunt you later. Good night.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.